The U.S. government admitting in a court filing yesterday that federal agents accidentally deported a man who was in the U.S. legally, landing him in El Salvador's notorious mega jail. The administration is calling it a, quote, administrative error, and Justice Department lawyers said they don't have jurisdiction to get the Salvadorian government to release him and return him to the United States.
A lot of people come up to me and they're like, Donnie, how'd you get out of that Salvadorian death prison? And I'm like, it wasn't easy. I will tell you that much right now. Because when they first arrested me, I was like, I understand what's going on. Because I look kind of ethnic, and we can't have that. But I was like, listen, guys, I was born here. And they were like, well, whose problem is that? And I said, well, I kind of think it's your problem. And they were like, nah. And I'm like, well, what am I getting arrested for? And they're like, you're a member of a gang, of a terrorist organization. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. We think you are. And so you are. I'm like, oh, okay. And they said, well, if you're not, why do you have a tattoo of Santa Muerte on your arm? And I'm like, that's not Santa Muerte. That's Britney Spears. It's just a tattoo artist was terrible. And they were like, I don't know. It says you have known gang affiliations. And I'm like, I thought that was a book club because I only went once, and I must have wrote the address down wrong from the flyer that was in the grocery store. And so I went to the address I had written down, which was a wrong one. I saw the sign said MS-13 meeting, and I was like, well, that must be what they call the book club. And so I went in there, and I was like, hey, you guys read Bridges in Madison County? And none of them had read it. And so I should have known right then I was in the wrong spot. But I didn't leave because they had donuts. And I was waiting because they didn't have coffee yet. They had sent Enrique out to get the coffee, and I'm not going to eat donuts without coffee. I'm not a communist. And so I was waiting, but apparently Enrique bumped into some guys he knew, and they cut off his head and took the coffee. So I waited there for no reason, and now I'm getting deported to a Salvadorian death prison. So I get down there to call the DOJ. I'm like, can you get me out of here? I'm here by accident. They're like, oh, yeah, I see that you are out there by accident, but we can't get you out. We don't know how to do that. And so I called the Salvadorian president, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Can you get me out of this prison? And he's like, how are you calling me? You're in a Salvadorian death prison. And I'm like, well, luckily I keep a cell phone up my butthole for just such an occasion. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing it for years. Because if I were to ask you right now, do you have your cell phone on? You could be like, well wait, where do you look around for it? If you ask me if I have my cell phone on me, I just go, yep, because you know when it's there. And, it's, he said, well, that's pretty interesting. And I'm like, thank you very much. Can you get me out of this prison? And he's like, no, I can't get you out of prison. I'm like, nobody can get me out of prison. It's like so much bureaucracy that nobody can do it. And so I thought to myself, who do I know is good at cutting through a bureaucracy? Leland Musk. And so I gave Leland Musk a call. I'm like, hey, Leland, it's your good pal Donnie Kruger. And he's like, hey, Donnie, what's up? And I'm like, not much. I'm in a Salvadorian death prison, though. And he's like, how'd you get there? And I'm like, I don't know. I tried to use a legal process to get myself out, and nothing's come of it so far. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, we don't use that anymore. And I'm like, what? He's like, we don't use that legal process anymore. You got to know somebody. And I'm like, well, good thing I know you. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, so can you doge me out of here? And he was like, well, let me just finish this game of Path of Exile 2 and do some ketamine, and I'll see what I can do. I'm like, that's okay. Take your time. And so he got me out, thankfully. It was a pain in the butt. The whole thing was kind of a pain in the butt, but it's good to know that the system still works.